So I think we do have quite a number of questions that have come in for you, Mohammed. So let's get going. So this is quite a long question. I'm going to put this into chunks. Are there any long-term plans to integrate API PKB with educational data sets as well as social care data sets? Comment is this would be a game changer. In my mind, many of our health outcomes and information sharing is around finding out school attendance and attainment. Also, many of our care plans require sharing or co-creating with educational settings. I know you can see the sub-question, so I'll let you answer. That from that.
Thank you, Sarah. So, Colin, thanks so much for that question. I completely agree with you on the value of working together with schools and with social care. So, just to start with what's already possible. So, you can already give anyone access to the record, including employees of schools. It's particularly valuable because those people get locked out of NHS IT systems, whereas they can log into PKB on a web browser, obviously with the permission of the family or the clinicians on behalf of the child and so on. But it means you can give the school nurse or the teacher access to the asthma care plan so they can see what to do in an emergency for that child, what the correct escalation pathways are and what to do right there and then for that child. So that's immediately available. The other thing is that it's shared editing, not just shared viewing. So we have a template for educational health and care plans, for example. A lot of those are really co-created between the staff in the school and the NHS staff alongside the family. Again, that already works. All you need is a web browser, internet connection, and you're off. So if anyone local would like that EHCP template, we're happy putting it for you. And genuinely, any care plan that you create locally can be shared editing with the school staff. I think your wider question there about integration with IT systems was something like bringing in the days off school automatically or educational attainment. I completely agree that's useful. Right now, we haven't found a way to do that, and we haven't prioritized that with that group's IT systems. So what we have is how to do it manually. So if you want to put in the care plans that you want to track the days of school, we can do that. I know school nurses in Bedfordshire working with epilepsy children, for example, getting all the right metrics to do that. But right now we have that all manual, but it does work immediately and it does work from any web browser with any school staff.
Thank you.
No, sorry, I'm not the CEO. But I think there's hello. Just when we're talking about social care data sets, don't forget to mention the work that we've done with colleagues in London on the work that we've done with Westminster, and also I don't think you'll be aware, Mohammed, so I might I don't know if Chris is still on, might call on Chris and Anne-Marie to expand on. I believe that Cheshire are about to go live with a Liquid Logic interface as well as the one that we've got with Serverlec for Mosaic, so might just be worth talking about those two as well.
Sure, thank you, Sally. So those ones are integrations we've done with so the Serverlec one in London is an integration where if you work with Serverlec to switch on the configuration for that, it means that some of the data in Serverlec is visible inside PKB, both for the family and for the NHS staff logging into PKB. The Liquid Logic one, I think, Sally, that was done by the local team using PKB's APIs to send data from there into PKB. So that's immediately available, but that requires some work by the local providers rather than just a configuration change like with Serverlec. So it's definitely something we want to expand and scale up. I think social care IT systems are a bit further behind on the sharing journey with NHS ones, but the more systems you connect around the child, the better. So we're fully on board with that, and it's by direction, right? We would like data to end back into those IT systems as well, and so all our FI work is about making it available for them to come back into their systems.
Thank you. Just make sure Sally hasn't got anything else to add.
No, I will try and stay on mute. Sorry.
It's all good. So question from Neil, what is the next big ticket development for PKB to tackle? Is there a roadmap?
Okay. So Neil, I think you asked that question before seeing the presentation from Ruth and Joanne. We'll make sure you have the link to the latest roadmap and the video of their presentation. The thing I wanted to expand from all the different things they covered is the FHIR API side. So it's not just an availability of a syntax for reading and writing data from PKB. It's a really big architectural change we're making around the data sets and how we store in the back end to make them a lot more scalable and to make the development for us a lot faster and the integration with partners and customers a lot faster and the ability to scale the access to the data also faster. So I think the next big ticket for us internally is the FHIR one, alongside all the usability changes that Joanne and Ruth have given you a preview of.
So the next question from Dan is, in Sussex, we've identified practitioner experience as a really key part of driving take-up of things like PIFU and know that practitioners like things that are single sign-on and presented in context. What's PKB's advice on approaches to achieving that?
So we completely agree, Dan. The key for clinicians is, the second best thing is that they do single sign-on, and the best thing is they don't even single sign-on, they get the data right back into their IT system. So the FHIR API is really about allowing you to get the data back into your IT systems. But the single sign-on is already working and is really productive for the clinicians. So if you've got System 1, single sign-on is available out of the box and it's free of charge from System 1. So that we'll send out the link to how to configure that for the clinician, but they are in System 1, they click through, they go straight into context to that record as you're describing. The same thing happens for EMIS, but EMIS apply a charge per practice to switch that on, but that's also out of the box. For all other IT systems like Cerner or Rio, the APIs we have available for single sign-on require some IT department use of those APIs, but they're available free of charge and have been used for a while by different parties. Am I answering what you're asking about, Dan, or is it something else you're trying to highlight?
No, that's really, really helpful. Thank you. I mean, the combination of having APIs available for single sign-on and also the work that you're doing with FHIR and being able to scale the FHIR API so you're drawing on more than one patient at a time, those things are really, really helpful.
Okay. I'm going to do I wanted to highlight one of the APIs for PIFU as well, but I think, should we put that into the next question by Jennifer? Sarah?
Yeah, do you want me to just go into that question? Yeah. So the question was, we've been working on single sign-on at Hull. I was thinking, what's the acronym? Hull. But I found that PKB allows you to move to different patients, which is deemed as a clinical risk within Hull Hospital. Is this something PKB can look at as we are keen to progress single sign-on? Also, are there any plans in the future to look at scheduling so we can automatically send out questionnaires? They're two different questions. Do you want to go with the first one? Yeah. And then we'll do the second one.
So I'll do the first one on the clinical risk side. So Jennifer, I think you've scheduled a time with us to go through the clinical risk bits that you're identifying. So it's not that we disagree with you about the importance of clinical risk. Just some of us had a usability set of defaults, and we just want to bottom out every single scenario where you get the right usability for the clinician, but avoid all the clinical risks that you're identifying. So let's go through the details with you afterwards, but it's not that we are dropping or ignoring it. We definitely want you to make use of that single sign-on. And for everyone wondering what's happening, basically a single sign-on by the API, it shows you the full PKB user interface. It drops you right in the correct patient's record with full demographics showing you which patient's record that you're in. But it then allows you to continue using PKB and navigate to other people's records if that's what you like. And what Jennifer is saying is, if you can navigate, that then decouples what's the record in PKB from the record you were looking at when you signed on from the beginning. So we want to just get the right usability and clinical safety around that one. The second one is around the automated questionnaires. And so this is what I was wanting to add to the question from Dan. So at the moment, we have APIs who can pull the answers in FHIR syntax from PKB into your medical record system. And what we're doing this quarter, as in it'll be on production by December, is the reverse direction, that you can automate the sending of a questionnaire from PKB to the patient. I just want to check if that's what you're asking about, Jennifer. So if you can schedule that in your internal IT system, like the PAS that knows the patient has an appointment or has an operation, and based on that schedules a questionnaire to go out today or tomorrow and so on, those APIs will do what you want, and you'll have them this quarter if there's anyone in your team that wants to do testing. You might have been asking about whether the scheduling can happen inside PKB. So far, we've shied away from that because often the information about what to schedule resides in another system, the one that knows about the appointment or the operation and so on. So again, let's figure out the details of that if you want later on, but at least I can get you the API for another system scheduling those questionnaires, and that's really important for PIFU, as Dan was bringing up.
Thanks, Mo. So the next question is from Linda, that's just coming on the chat. So when changes are made to the front end of the system, how are customers, i.e. NHS trusts, involved in the design and implementation of the change, and where and via what route are trusts made aware of changes, specifically when changes have an impact on the support calls that come into the trust?
Sure. So the short answer is that every one of the changes that we make, we tend to have done them based on either feedback from a customer or feedback that we discuss with the lead customer. So we're not, we wouldn't make a change without having tested out with someone. What Ruth and Joanne were highlighting at the end of their talk was the way to keep abreast of what we're doing month to month is the blog. So we have, I really recommend subscribing on blog.patientsknowbest.com. And then week by week, we let you know about what's coming on pkbstatus.com. So that tells you about server downtime, planned upgrades, what's been released, and so on. Probably the most important thing to be aware of is what Ruth and the user experience team have been doing in terms of doing user design. If your area, Linda, do you know where Linda's from? Which part of the country she's working in?
This is Linda from Imperial, not Linda Watts, Linda Adams.
The other Linda, yeah.
Different Linda, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sally. So Linda, the Imperial in particular have been working with us closely in terms of lining up their own user experience groups with PKB's team. So if there's things that we've done that we've missed letting you know about, please let us know. But there's a formal collaboration in Imperial through Paul Harrison, the user experience group, to go through. Joanne and Ruth, is there anything else you want to highlight?
No, but I will. Well, I will just use that opportunity that to ask everyone to sign up for user research, because that's fantastic, or share the contact details with any of your patient groups or any of your clinicians and coordinators that might be interested.
Fabulous, thank you. And I think the last one, so please do, we have actually got a little bit of time, which is miraculous. If anyone does have any additional questions, pop them in now. But the last one, I think, was a reiteration of something that was raised earlier, which again maybe doesn't have a straightforward question, but straightforward answer, sorry. Is there any information on the timeline for questionnaire functionality for conditional logic and data entry validation?
There is definitely no timeline beyond this quarter in terms of we'll have the API for sending out the questionnaires. The kind of improvements we want to make, Susan, Claire, eventually were condition logic, not just data entry validation, but also scoring. So based on answers to questions 1, 3, and 5, here's the sum in number 7 based on a formula and so on. At the moment, we haven't scheduled that in. The priority was to at least give you an API for sending out the questionnaires. People like Imperial were making use of that to do their own internal logic and scoring. We understand everybody else would find it more useful if we expanded that and did that within PKB. We just hadn't prioritized that. The the big thing for us is just making those FHIR APIs generally available before we do the next stage of improvements. So I'm sorry I haven't got the answer you want just yet, but we are working on it. It's not that we don't think it's useful, we just haven't scheduled something yet.
And Mohammed, just to add to that, we are looking at allowing questions in the consultation to be marked as mandatory. That's something that we have preliminary scheduled for next year, and also looking at the display of the questionnaires themselves.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thanks, Joanne. Well, that does complete the questions. So if anyone does have any more, please feel free to throw them in. We'll give it a minute or so, but got off quite lightly there, Mo, I think, really, to be honest.
Cool. And while waiting, can I just make sure to say thank you to everyone? It's been really nice seeing everyone and hearing all the stories and seeing all the questions. We haven't done a PUG for a long time, so this was really special for us today.
We have kept track of the questions that we didn't get to answer, so we will take them back to the speakers, and obviously try not to make them do it too quickly, but we'll try and get answers to those for you and get them back to the people that asked the questions. But I think...
Are you trying to say something, Sally?
I am conscious that it's 3, and I bet loads of people are having to drop right now because they'll probably be going to other meetings scheduled at 3 o'clock. So I'd like to reiterate what Mohammed said and thank everyone, both the speakers, because we know that it's taken you guys some time to prep and work with us on your slides. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining. I have been so impressed with how many people have been here for the duration. We really appreciate you being here. We organised this for you guys, so hopefully you can learn from each other and meet some new people. So I hope you've got a lot out of this. It's also really nice for us as the PKB team just to get to sit back and listen to you all and listen to what you're doing, and we can't wait to share this internally with everyone that wasn't able to join. So thank you again for all your time. Big thank you for the PKB team that have organised this. I take absolutely no credit. I have just turned up on the day and I get to chat to everyone. So thank you to our staff internally that have organised everything. It's been brilliant, and hopefully speak to you all soon. So have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much.